Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on our new Mailbutler feature called the Smart Assistant, which is powered by artificial intelligence. I'm Tobias. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mailbutler. And next to me, you can see James, our content marketing manager here at Mailbutler. We, and especially our development team, we worked very hard the last months to get the early access version ready for you. And now it's a time Smart Assistant is finally available for all of you, and we can't wait to get your feedback. So during the webinar, if you have any questions, please simply use the chat window here, and we will try to answer all your questions at the end of this presentation. We are also going to record the full webinar, and you will receive it via email within the next few days, so you can always rewatch it if needed. But before we talk about our Smart Assistant and its feature set, let's briefly talk about artificial intelligence in general. So artificial intelligence is a simulation of human intelligence by computer systems. And our new Smart Assistant is using one of the most powerful AIs on the market. You might already heard about the company OpenAI. OpenAI is actually the company behind the very popular service ChatGPT. The AI we are using is called GPT-3, and it has been trained on a large data set of text, which includes everything from news articles, books, scientific papers, Wikipedia, and many other sources of text. And it's important to note that the AI we're using only knows information which were available until June 2021. But of course, the AI is still learning, so it will evolve over the time. So this powerful artificial intelligence actually allows our smart assistant to understand the context of emails and to generate human-like email responses for you. And this power enables us as Mailbutler to develop for you such a feature like Smart Assistant, which offers you all kind of different inbox features. Next, let's quickly also talk about the benefits and limitations of artificial intelligence. So there are so many different benefits of AI, and it would take actually too long to mention all of them. And there will be even more benefits in the near future because at the moment, the development of AI is so fast. But in general, you can say that AI is increasing your efficiency by saving you a lot of time, improving accuracy, and saving you costs by automating processes for you. But besides all of these benefits, it's also important to mention that there are a few limitations for AI at the moment, at least. The first limitation is that AI can't understand all the nuances of human language and communication. AI often fails actually to understand sarcasm or irony, for example. Another limitation of AI is that AI is not capable of using creativity and emotion in decision making. So this means that AI technologies can't come up with original solution to problems. It's simply not possible yet. But most importantly, AI technologies can sometimes produce correct sounding answers, which on the other side are completely wrong. So it's very important for you that you are aware of these kind of limitations. So whenever you're using our smart assistant, for example, you always need to double check the emails before sending them out. So in the end, our smart assistant is acting as an assistant in your inbox for you. It will not replace you or fully automate your email communication. Now let's come to the interesting part of this webinar about our smart assistant. So the current version, which is the first version actually, of our smart assistant comes with 6 sub-features, which you can see all listed here. There's a feature to compose a full email based on a short input from your side. Or it is also able to respond to an email in just a few clicks because it can understand the context of your email. There's also a feature to summarize long emails for you, so you don't need to read the full email, and it gives you a quick summary, which gives you a good overview about the entire context of that email. If you decide to keep writing emails by yourself, which you will probably do, there's also a Smart Improve feature, which improves the email writing for you. And there's a feature to find contact information or potential tasks inside your email and saves them for you. But let's see the feature in action. James will now give you a live demo of all the Smart Assistant features. He's going to use his Apple Mail inbox for the demo, but the Smart Assistant looks exactly the same in Outlook and Gmail as well, because it's located directly into your inbox using the Mailbutler sidebar, which is actually the same in all front ends. Okay, James, you can take over now, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Tobias. Yeah, so as Tobias mentioned, I'm doing this in Apple Mail, but it's the same in Gmail and in Outlook. So the first thing you'll need to do is actually enable the Smart Assistant. So you can do this by first opening up the Mailbutler sidebar and then heading down to the cog and going into Account and Preferences. And under the General tab up here in the top right, you'll see this button to enable early access. And of course, you can disable this again at any point. And what you might also have to do on top of that is head down to the Privacy tab. And here, there'll be a question, do you want to grant Mailbutler access to your email's content? Now, for the Smart Assistant to work, you will have to allow access to some of your emails. However, the only emails which it will actually have access to will be the ones that you use the feature on, which will make more sense in a moment. And at Mailbutler, we never access or store any of your messages. So it might sound scary, but your data is still totally protected. So then heading back to the inbox, as Tobias mentioned, there are 6 features, and you can see now in the sidebar, this is the Mailbutler Smart Assistant. There's only 4 buttons here at the moment. That's because some of the other buttons, like Compose, for example, are only available in the Compose window. So now you can see there's also, on top of the others, which are here, Compose and Improve. So I'll start with Smart Compose. So when you click on the button here, a little field comes up, and here you can enter in a short input, and then the Smart Assistant just writes an email for you. So I'll just put in something simple like follow-up email for unpaid invoice. Then you click Compose, and after a few moments, the Smart Assistant will write an email based just solely on the input keywords that you have entered. So you can see here, I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to follow up on the unpaid invoice I sent to you for date. The invoice was for amount, etc., etc. And then here it's written it in a sort of friendly style. So I understand that things can slip through the cracks. So I wanted to make sure that you received the invoice. If you've already paid it, please disregard this email. So it's kind of tried to cover all bases. And so from here, you can insert it just by clicking the insert button, and then you can edit the dates here, for example. And with this email as well, I could have written, write a friendly email or write a hard email. You can also change the style just by adding to the input keywords that you give. So that's just a simple example, but we can also do a more complex one. So I'm a content marketing manager. So my area of expertise is mostly SEO. So if I write something silly like write an email to Bill Gates outlining how I can improve Microsoft's SEO strategy. This will probably be a slightly longer email, which will have some more sort of technical language in it. And as Tobias mentioned, the artificial intelligence we're using has learned all the way up until June 2021. So you can see here, I'll just insert it. It might be easier to see. So I'm writing to discuss how I can help Microsoft improve its SEO strategy. Then it goes into a bit where it talks about my personal experience as an SEO specialist, that I'm confident that I can help Microsoft increase its visibility. Then it goes even into some specific ideas about focusing on creating content, talking about keywords and target audiences. So you can see that even when you give something more specific that's kind of industry specific and you'd think needs some technical terminology, the smart assistant can handle it. The one kind of disclaimer here, which goes back to something that Tobias said about the disadvantages of artificial intelligence, is that you'll always have to review anything that it gives you, make sure that everything's correct, make sure that there are no mistakes in any of the messages that it writes for you. So that's the first feature, Smart Compose. Then back in the inbox, I've got an email selected here from Tobias asking for a meeting with me on Thursday at 11 o'clock. So then we can do two things to this email. The first I'll talk about is the Smart Respond feature. So you can just click reply here and the Smart Assistant will craft a response for you. Or you can click the drop down arrow and you can say either reply positively or negatively. So I'll try out negatively. And what it should do is tell Tobias that actually I can't make the meeting, and it might even try and reschedule it. So it says here, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it this Thursday. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'll send you the notes. And yeah, again, bear in mind, especially for the Smart Compose feature, even if you give in the same input, then you'll get a different email back from the artificial intelligence. And like with this example, I've used this before and it's actually then suggested a different time to meet rather than what's in this example, which is 11 a.m. But this time it didn't. So just bear that in mind as well, that you can give in the same input and you'll get a different result. And the same here, you can then open this email in your drafts, make any edits to it that you need to, and send it off. So that's the Smart Respond feature. And now I've just in my drafts, I've got an email here that I wrote, which has got some spelling errors and some grammatical mistakes. And now you can use the Smart Improve feature to improve the grammar on this. So if I click the button, it will give me this email, but as you can see, the spelling has been improved and the grammatical errors are now gone. And then you can just quickly replace that. So you make sure that all of your emails are professional and you don't make any mistakes. So heading back into my inbox, that's the first three features, and then there are three more. So one of the ones Tobias mentioned is the Smart Summarize feature. So if you click on the Summarize button here, the Smart Assistant will then give you a brief summary of the content of this email message. So you can see here, suggesting a follow-up meeting to finalize details of a potential collaboration. He's asking James to confirm the meeting time and send him notes. And from here, you can then turn this summary into a Mailbutler note. As you can see, it's saved that for me right here. In a similar vein, you can do the same with tasks. So if you click on the to-dos button, the Smart Assistant scans the message and tries to find some to-dos. You can then click and save the ones that you want. And you can see here, there's one to-do which is a little bit wrong. So the Smart Assistant's made a mistake. This is something that you can always give us feedback on, and I'll show you how to give feedback in just a second. But also, just in general, as Tobias mentioned, artificial intelligence will make mistakes. So this might not even be something that's sort of under our control. This is just something that artificial intelligence will get better at over time. But anyway, so I'll deselect that one, and then I've got these three tasks here, and then you just hit create task. You've got three Mailbutler tasks, and then you can do to them the same as you normally would be able to automate them, set a reminder and share them. And then the final feature is the contact info feature, the contact finder feature, which is under contact info. So you click the button, and then it should scan this message and find any contact information related to Tobias. And you can see here it's got his name, position, company, address, website, and email. And again, I can choose which one of these I want to save. So say I don't necessarily need to know Tobias's company address. I can deselect that, save the info, and then it tells me that Tobias has been saved as a Mailbutler contact for me. So those are the 6 main features of the Smart Assistant. There's just one more thing to mention, which is back in the settings under General, there's a small box which says leave feedback. And if you click on that, it takes you to a type form, and there you can leave us any feedback that you like. And you can also just then send us a message to our support team, for example, and we'll get your feedback that way as well. And I just saw somebody's message pop up. No, it's not only in English. So I could have written the same note in German or French or Spanish, for example, and it will then be able to compose emails for me in that language. The only thing to mention there is Chat GPT is trained best in English. So the results will be best in English, but it's able to do it in other languages. And I think that's everything.
Good. Thanks a lot, James. Let's come to the questions. I will quickly share my screen. 1 second. Yeah. So there were already a few questions before we started the webinar, actually, from you. For example, about the pricing of Mailbutler. I think James mentioned it shortly, that our smart assistant is actually at the moment in the early access program. So it's available for every Mailbutler user without any kind of limitations. And we will keep this status until mid of June. And in mid of June, we will include the smart assistant in one of our existing paid plans. There's no further information about which plan it will be included at the moment because we're currently working on it. But very soon, I would say in the next weeks, we will finalize that decision and then inform you via email. Then a very technical one, is AI just a buzzword? What's the differentiating this from machine learning? So there are different technologies which are all under the umbrella of the term AI, and machine learning is one of them. Also, for example, natural language processing and others. So AI is covering all of them. And the AI we're using is, for example, using all kind of technologies, and machine learning is, for example, one of them. Then about the language, as James just said, depending on your input, the AI should detect the language automatically. At the moment, we are experiencing some issues when the input is very, very short. When you, for example, try to compose an email with only 3 words, it will work, the compose, but it could be that the result is in English because the AI didn't recognize fully the language. But if you write at least, I would say, 6, 7, 8 words in the compose field, the AI will detect your language and tries to provide you an email in your native language. Same AI only in English language, yeah. So about the contact info feature, we'll save it on Apple Contacts, for example. No, it will save the context in Mailbutler's contacts feature. Yeah.
But in settings, you can export contacts as a CSV anyway.
Yeah.
So even if you save them, or you can then export them.
And the good thing about Mailbutler's contact feature is that it's also located directly in the sidebar, so you always have these informations directly in your inbox. Yeah. Good. Are there any other questions? Feel free to use the chat now, because James and we will stay a little bit longer to answer all your questions or feedback. So feel free to use the chat option. I'm opening the chat now. Question, yeah, that was the last one. So for the rest who has no question, thank you already for participating, for joining. We are doing these kind of webinars actually to onboard you, of course, but also to get your feedback about the product. Because in the end, we are developing the smart assistant based on your needs. So always feel free, even later, to provide us any kind of feedback. You can use the option in-app, but you can also simply send an email to support@mailbutler.io or even reply to any kind of email you received from us in the past. So there's always someone of us getting back to you about it. Yeah.
Maybe just before we go, I can share again and show exactly where to provide feedback in the
That
app.
would be great.
It's just a really quick.
I think you can even click on the early access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one way of doing it. You can click in the sidebar where the Smart Assistant is. You can click on the early access button and it takes you into your account under General. And over here, there's Provide Feedback. And from here, you click on that and it'll take you to a type form. And here you can provide any of the feedback that you want to give us. And the same thing is just to go to the cog in the sidebar, Account and Preferences, and again, under General.
Yeah. Good. It seems like there are no more questions. Thank you all for participating and hopefully talk to you all soon. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.